What if I told you that being single in your later years, yes, even in your 80s, could be one of the greatest blessings of your entire life? Most people see aging alone as something to fear. They imagine quiet, empty rooms, long days, and a constant ache of loneliness. And I understand why. We live in a culture that often treats partnership as the ultimate goal, as if your life's value is tied to whether or not you have someone by your side. But after years of listening to the stories of older adults, and after living it myself, I can tell you a very different truth. This stage of life, lived on your own terms, can open doors to freedoms, joys, and discoveries you might never have imagined. At 84, I've learned something surprising. Being single at this age isn't about missing out on what others have. It's about embracing the unique opportunities that are only possible when you have the space to truly live for yourself. When the noise and constant demands of earlier years fade away, something magical happens. You gain space.
Space to breathe.
Space to choose your own pace. Space to live exactly the way you want, without explanation or compromise. And that, my friends, isn't loneliness. That's a kind of wealth many people never experience, even in a lifetime. This video isn't about convincing you to avoid relationships. It's about opening your eyes to what's possible if you find yourself single after 80. I'm going to share 6 powerful reasons why this chapter can be more fulfilling, peaceful, and even exciting than you expect. Stay with me until the end, because the last reason might just surprise you enough to change how you see the rest of your life.
Reason número 1. Freedom to life at your own pace.
One of the greatest gifts of being single later in life is the complete freedom to set your own pace without feeling guilty or pressured. Think back. How many years of your life were shaped around other people's needs? Waking up early because your spouse had to get to work. Eating when the family was ready, even if you weren't hungry. Planning weekends around someone else's comfort or habits. That's not bad. It's part of love and commitment. But it also means that for decades, your time was rarely fully your own.
Now, without constant adjustments, every morning belongs to you.
You can wake up when your body feels rested instead of when an alarm tells you it's time. You can drink your morning coffee slowly, savoring every sip, without being reminded of errands or chores. If the sun feels warm and you want to sit in the garden for hours, you can. If you feel like napping at 2 o'clock simply because the breeze is perfect, you don't have to explain it to anyone. This isn't selfishness. It's about honoring what your body and mind need.
Y have a friend, Harold, voz 82.
After his wife passed, people worried he'd sink into loneliness. But Harold says he's discovered a quiet joy in making choices without compromise. Some mornings he takes long walks when the weather is just right. Other days, he cooks exactly what he loves, without worrying if someone else will like it. Evenings, often spent sketching by the window with jazz music in the background. When you're single at this stage, you don't have to rush. You don't have to fit yourself into someone else's timetable. Your life flows at a rhythm that matches your own heartbeat. And that, my friends, is a rare and precious gift. Reason number 2. Time to rediscover your passions. Being single after 80 often means you gain something most people dream of but rarely have: time, and not just leftover minutes at the end of the day, but whole stretches that are entirely yours. For years, maybe decades, your interests were pushed to the side while you focused on work, raising a family, or maintaining a household. I'll get back to that someday, you told yourself. But someday never seemed to come. Now it can. Maybe you once painted but stopped when life got busy. Maybe you played an instrument and always dreamed of returning to it. Maybe you've been meaning to write down your family history, tend a lush garden, or learn something completely new.
Y no Margaret, voz 84.
She raised 3 children, worked part-time, and kept her home running for decades. Her dream:
learning to play the piano.
But between school runs, dinners, and bills, the piano sat silent. After her husband passed, Margaret signed up for lessons. Now, every morning, she practices for an hour. She says it's the most alive she's felt in years. The music fills her home, and with it, a sense of joy and purpose she never expected at this stage. This is your season to reclaim the parts of yourself that were buried under responsibility. It's not about passing time, it's about enriching it.
Reason número 3. And dependence in every decision.
Partnership often means compromise. What to eat, where to live, how to spend money, these choices are shared. And that can be beautiful. But when you're single, those decisions are completely your own. You can arrange your home however you like, even if it means putting the TV in the kitchen or turning the guest bedroom into an art studio.
You can travel where you want, when you want.
Harold, my earlier friend, always wanted to live near the ocean. For years, his wife preferred the countryside. After becoming single, Harold sold his home and moved into a cottage by the shore. Now, mornings are for beach walks, afternoons for reading by an open window with the salt air drifting in. He calls it, finally living the life I was meant to live. That's what independence gives you. Not just choices, but the ability to shape your world entirely to fit you. Reason number 4. The social life you actually want. In a relationship, social calendars are often a compromise between two people's preferences. Sometimes that means attending events you don't care for or spending time with people you wouldn't choose for yourself. When you're single, your social life is built entirely on what brings you joy. You can spend a quiet week with no commitments or fill your days with activities that light you up. Book clubs, art classes, volunteer work, dance lessons. Harold, yes, he's a recurring star here, became the unofficial greeter at his local senior center. In the past, his social world revolved around his wife's family events, many of which left him drained. Now, he spends time with friends who share his humor, his love for cards, and his passion for community work. At this stage, your time is precious. Choosing who gets that time is one of the purest forms of self-respect.
Reason número 5. Space for personal growth.
Some people think growth stops when you reach a certain age. I couldn't disagree more. Without the expectations of a partner, you have more room to explore yourself than ever before. Elena, an 84-year-old I know, spent most of her life caring for her family and managing her home. When she became single, she enrolled in a local history course. That one decision led to a new passion, researching and giving talks about local landmarks. She says she's never felt more alive.
When you're single, you can ask yourself, what excites me now?
And then you can actually go after it.
Reason número 6. A second youth in spirit.
I've met many people who thought their best days were over once they were alone. Then, they discovered something unexpected. The absence of constant compromise gave them a fresh burst of energy. They traveled. They laughed more. They tackled projects they'd never had time for. And while their bodies were older, their minds and spirits felt decades younger. Reaching your 80s single can feel like stepping into a new chapter. Not emptier, but freer. This is your time to design your days, focus on your health, explore your interests, and connect with people in ways that feel authentic to you.
Your life isn't winding down.
It's shifting into a stage where you can live with greater intention and joy. And that, my friends, is a gift worth cherishing. Thank you for spending this time with me. If any of these reasons resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters, and your story might inspire someone else who's feeling uncertain about their future.